Welcome! In this series of short videos, we will look at topics common to both the PowerBasic console and Windows compilers. Today, we will look at the use of the matrix command. Today we're going to look at the matrix command in PowerBasic. The mat command in PowerBasic is probably underused. For those of you who are unfamiliar with matrices and what they can be used for, I've included two links in the description below. One to explain what matrices can actually be used for, and the other to explain the mechanics of using matrices. Today we're just going to look at the basics. The mat command in the help file specifies how you can actually do matrix algebra calculations within PowerBasic. So what we're going to do today is some matrix multiplication. I want to demonstrate within this application how to do this kind of array manipulation using normal approaches and using the mat command. First of all, we'll do it the traditional way. Since we want to compare, we're going to use a global constant at the beginning of the code. So there are going to be three arrays used in here: an input vector matrix array, a transformation matrix array, and an output vector matrix array. The input and the transformation ones will be populated and the output vector matrix will be calculated. So there are our three arrays. Each array is set up as a single array. The first one, the input array, has three elements and is one-dimensional. The transformation matrix array is a two-dimensional array, 1 to 4 and 1 to 3. And the output is going to be a single-dimension array of 4 elements. So the first thing we want to do is to assign some values to our arrays. Our input array is going to have three values set. The values of 4, 0 and 1. And we're using the array assign command to assign the values to that array. Our transformation array is going to be slightly more complicated in that it has 2 dimensions. So this is going to have 3 rows of 4 elements. 12 values in total. I'm putting some of these in as positive and some as negative. And again, using the array assign command to assign the values to the elements within the array. We will do the normal calculation first, not using the mat command. So we're going to set up 4 local variables: an output variable, a row and column variable, and a timer, because I'd like to time how long these commands are taking to run. And we're going to have 2 sections of code. The first section is a normal calculation. First thing we want to do is we want to prep our timer, so we can measure how long in clock cycles this process is going to take to run. Next thing to do is we will reset all the values within the array of our output. Since this is a single array, this will set the value in each element to 0. Now, since our output is going to have 4 elements in the array, we want to calculate for each of these. And we're going to treat these as columns. Simple for next loop from 1 to 4. And for our row calculation, we will do a for next loop for the rows. And this is where we do our calculation. So in the output array, we want to make the column element within the output array equal to our output plus our input times our transformation matrix. Just basic arithmetic. So this would be how you would normally do this within code. 2 for next loops and a calculation. Now once that calculation has reached the end, we want to print it out on our log so we can see what the values are. So we're going to use our output variable. We will populate that with a piece of text to say what we're doing. We'll put a carriage return line feed on the end, and on the next line we will do a simple for next loop to pull the information out of our output array and place it on the screen. And once we've completed that, we can then end our timer and display how many clock ticks we've actually used. Right, let's try a quick compile of that to make sure it's okay, which it is, and we'll run that now. So there is our calculation. We now have the output of the 4 elements, 8, -6, 1 and 16, which took around 21,000 clock cycles. So how would we do the same calculation, but this time using the mat command? Well, we would still do as we did before. We will prep our timer and we will reset our output. And then we're going to use the mat command. Now, rather than 2 nested for next loops, all we need to do is to use the mat command with the output array being equal to the transform array multiplied by the input array. So basically we're replacing 2 for next loops and a calculation with a single line of code. And then having got that far, we now want to output the results again. So we'll copy the code we did before and paste that in. So quick compiling that to make sure it looks clean. And we will change our constant from false to true so that we'll now run the calculation using the mat command. So if we run that now, we will see we get exactly the same output as in 8 -6, 1, 16, and this one takes fewer clock cycles, 20,000 clock cycles. So you will see the use of the matrix command has 2 advantages. One, it makes your code less complex looking. There are fewer lines of code and they execute slightly faster. So this has been a short introduction to use of the matrix command in PowerBasic. Probably one of the most underutilized commands in the command set. But that's it for today. Thank you for watching.